In the previous tutorial, we looked at sending data from the live coding window into the JavaScript window. In this tutorial, we'll look at the reverse. The application of this might be that you have some sort of machine learning model running here. Maybe it's reacting to data sent from the live coding window, and then we want to send the results of that process back to the live coding window to control some sort of thing in the audio engine. So here's how we do it. Before, we looked at a command called to.js, which sends data from here to here. This time we're going to receive data with a command called from.js. Let's have a look at the example in the tutorial. So I'm going to paste this code in. This code has this function from.js. It takes one parameter, at least one parameter, and that parameter is the number of a channel. So if you remember from the last tutorial, we create numbered channels which communicate here. So it receives data on channel 0 into, we're going to call it, it's going to be a frequency that goes into a saw wave, and then we'll use that data to control the frequency of a saw wave. So what about the data, the code on the other side? We've got two blocks here. We're going to run this command here. It's going to create a variable called channel naught and call this function which is inbuilt into the JavaScript window, and that creates an output channel with the channel number 0, and this 1 here says we're sending one item of data at a time, one value at a time. So I'm going to run that, and we get this bit of feedback here, and I'm going to run this here in the audio engine. So at first, when I run that, we don't hear anything, because the default value, if I haven't sent anything on that channel, it's going to read 0. So it's playing a saw wave with 0 frequency. If I want to send something on this channel 0, I use this command. So this variable we've created is an object with which we can send data on channel 0, and we use a method of that object, send, and it takes one parameter, which is the thing that we're sending. So I'm going to send the frequency 200 here, and it's going to arrive through this function into this variable and control the frequency of this saw wave. Let's try it now. And we can change this and it will update the value on the other side. That then is the basic mechanism for sending data from here to here. If we want to expand on this theme, we can think about what happens if we want to send more than one channel. So in this example, in the tutorial, we've got a patch which does a bit of synthesis here. So we've got a low frequency oscillator, we've got a couple of oscillators that are detuned from each other, and we're playing them through a filter. And on this side, I'm going to replace this code here. We've got 3 output channels which control the parameters of this synthesis process. So basically we're running some code in the audio engine that makes some noise, and we're controlling that code through the channels we've set up here. So this, at the moment, we're just sending kind of manually sending data, but we could be doing this with something more interesting like a neural network. So let's run this code here. And let's run this code here. This creates 3 channels, numbered 0, 1, and 2. And then I can send data on those channels to control the synth here. Just like we did with from.js, we don't have to send, to JS. We can, with from.js, we can also send blocks of data instead of single things at a time. And there's an example of this in the tutorial as well. So we're going to use a slightly modified version of this code. So this code had 3 different from.js's receiving the data on channels from here. This code here is slightly different. It receives a block of data into this params array, which will be 3 values from this side, sent by this thing here. So we create a channel with a block size of 3, and then send an array with 3 values all at once, receive that here, and then we use the individual elements of that array to control the individual bits of the synthesis process. So let's have a look here how that works. That's the basics then of sending data from the JavaScript window to the live coding window. In the next tutorial we'll have a look at sending data in a loop between the 2 windows.